This is KGW News at noon.
Well, yesterday was hot. Today, it'll be even hotter, and more of the same is coming our way the next few days. We're talking triple-digit temperatures today, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. Thanks for joining us here at noon. I'm Drew Carney. Before we go anywhere else, let's head over to the Weather Center. Rod Hill, you are the weatherman, the man of the hour.
Well, when you put it like that, today, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, it doesn't sound that great, but unfortunately, I think that is what we're looking at. So here are the temperatures we expect for your day planner. 87 right now. Now, yesterday at noon, it was 84. Yesterday, the high was 99. Plus 3 would take us up to 102, so we're on track to do that. Today's record high, by the way, out at the airport is 100. That was a record that's fairly new. It's set back just in 2020, so I think we'll break that. Still in the 90s, if you're like our family, you're waiting to get the dog out for a walk at about 8 p.m. tonight. It could still be 92. So in terms of watches and warnings, this kind of pinkish tone is the heat excessive warning for excessive heat, pardon me. These are areas, Portland, through the gorge, out into Pendleton, even back into Bend, where temperatures are likely to reach 100 degrees. The orange colors, everybody's under a heat advisory, where temperatures are likely to be still in the 90s, still pretty hot. And again, as Drew mentioned, this is going to go on for several days. The warning is currently posted through Thursday. Starting to break out of the fog down in Newport, the coast is the relief spot today, and it will be tomorrow as well. 59 in Newport. Portland, though, no relief here. 87 again is our current temperature. More on this heat wave, including the Dow's. You folks at 108 yesterday. We'll have your forecast for this afternoon coming up.
All right, Rod back with us in just a few minutes. With those triple digits in the forecast, cooling centers are opening up today in Multnomah County and the city of Portland. Overnight cooling shelters will open up later this afternoon. So those include the Charles Jordan Community Center in North Portland, the East Portland Community Center in Southeast Portland, the Portland Building downtown on Southwest 5th, and the Sunrise Center on East Burnside. In Washington County, the Beaverton Library will serve as a cooling center after hours from 7 to 9 p.m. today and tomorrow, and then again from 6 to 9 p.m. on Thursday and Friday. There's also cooling centers set up in Hillsborough with water and air conditioning. In Clackamas County, cooling centers include the Canby Library, Estacada Community Center, Gladstone Senior Center, and then back here in Portland, the Hollywood Senior Center will also be open until 7 o'clock tonight, again, to serve as a cooling center.
I know we've already are getting calls asking if we're going to be open, and once we get the message out that we are open, I just think that after last year and the tragedies that occurred, people understand how serious heat is.
One other thing the Hollywood Senior Center told us was that they're in need right now of water, Gatorade, and food donations. So people can drop off those donations directly at the center, which is located on Northeast 40th. We also have a full list of local cooling centers on our website. It's a list that continues to grow with each passing day. So if you just text the word heat to 503-226-5088. We'll text you back, that is, with a link to that growing list at KGW.com. You can also find nearby cooling centers or transportation to a cooling center simply by dialing 211. This week's heat has a lot of people shopping for an air conditioner, but actually finding one right now is the real challenge. So we called several Home Depot and Lowe's stores in the area to find out what their situation was. Most of the stores told us they were either sold out of ACs or had very few left. Several customers told us that the big name retailer suggested that they go to Ankeny Hardware there on Stark Street in Southeast Portland. The owner of Ankeny Hardware told us he started the summer with 500 AC units. He added 200 more last week. He said really planning ahead for seasonal stock is always a gamble, but he said given this year's supply chain issues, it's important to have enough on hand.
This year, we were told they were going to be hard to get because where are they made? They're made in Wuhan in China. That's where the majority of the manufacturing is. A lot of that stuff is still shut down. They told us, we're going to have to get them in by December.
Of course, not everyone can afford an air conditioner. Over the weekend, state health officials teamed up with community groups to deliver 500 AC units to people in need. The hope is to get 3,000 more of those units by the end of the summer. After last year's deadly heat wave, Oregon lawmakers passed a bill that set aside $5 million to invest in those ACs. People living in a Newburgh apartment complex say they received eviction notices for having AC units in their windows. The housing authority says those units are actually a fire hazard. KGW's Blair Best has more now on the situation that those tenants are faced with.
90 degrees with no AC.
I could get physically sick because you're so hot. In this 100-degree weather, it's horrible.
These women live in Haworth Terrace, a low-rent public housing community run by the Yamhill County Housing Authority. Many just received these eviction notices for having AC units in their windows.
Just all of a sudden, in the middle of July, they decide to evict mostly elderly and disabled people for their air conditioners, and I just don't think it's reasonable.
Mary McGrew has MS and has lived here for 5 years. In May, she received a notice that her window AC unit is a fire hazard and must be removed or else she'll be evicted.
It's really unfortunate how we're intimidated.
She hired a lawyer who negotiated an extension, allowing her to keep the unit until the end of this month.
But my eviction still stands. If I don't have it out by July 31st, I will be evicted on the 1st.
I got an eviction notice saying that I either had to take it out by the 21st or they were going to serve me with eviction papers.
And Nikki Sherman has lived here for 15 years and has always had AC in her window. The property management says floor units are allowed, which costs hundreds of dollars.
Oh my gosh, it would take me like almost 6 months to save up because I live paycheck to paycheck with the stuff that I already have.
I start to get headaches around 80 degrees and bloody noses, and I'm afraid of stroke or a seizure.
Now, according to Oregon law, landlords are not legally required to provide AC for their tenants. The executive director of Yamhill County Housing Authority tells KGW in an email, "We have been attempting to work with our tenants to find solutions to their cooling needs while at the same time complying with the federal housing and urban development's building standards." She goes on to say Haworth Terrace was recently notified by their governing agency that the apartments with window AC units are in violation of HUD standards, saying they're a fire hazard and must be removed. In May, Sherry Casto took her window unit out in fear of eviction. She now takes multiple cold showers a day and wears wet towels around her neck.
I don't want to be put in a position where I have to choose, being sick because I can't eat because of the heat, and being in the street.
But I just want to keep my air conditioner. And so do these other people.
In Newburgh, Blair Best, KGW News.
Last year, Oregon lawmakers passed a law to try and prevent landlords from banning window AC units, but it does come with some exceptions. For example, landlords can still ban AC units if they're considered a fire safety hazard or if they damage the building. Our team on the story looked into this a little bit deeper. You can watch their full report on the KGW YouTube channel. This is pretty cool. I don't think Rod Hill has any snow in his 7-day outlook, but they do have it all week long at the Lloyd Center Mall. They're actually making it snow on the ice rink every afternoon this week between 1 and 3 o'clock, now through Sunday. You can either skate through the flakes there or just sit back and watch the snow fall inside the mall. It'll be about 30 degrees cooler the next few days in some spots along the Oregon coast compared to what we're getting in the valley this week. Big crowds of people flocked to the beach on Monday to get away from the heat. That includes a woman from the Midwest who told us she's visiting Oregon this week for her annual girls trip.
We have been doing a surf trip every year for about the past 20 years.
No kidding.
Yep. And
so did you get on the board?
I did yesterday. Let me tell you, I'm going to be 90 the 27th of this month, and I thought I'm going to do it one more time before I die.
In Pacific City, there were packed parking lots and long lines yesterday, and that'll probably be the case all week as the heat wave continues.